What the fuck is it gonna take? The clock ticking, democracy slipping, snakes in the kitchen, freedom in a chokehold, yo, who's gripping? Socrates whispers truth bombs, no fiction. Big hands Newsome, palms on the gavel, world unravel, systems fragile, typing revolution, scrolling battle, scrolling but silent, nah, we can't straddle. Make democracy offensive, what's the price? Power to the people, not the roll of dice. Unite online, ignite the fight, blow the shit up, bring the wrong to light.
Hey everybody, and welcome to IODNations.org, International Online Democratic Nations.org, where we're dedicated to getting the world to discuss international online democracy and online citizen-led democracy. On today's show, we will see some clips from a podcast with Simon Sinek and Trevor Noah, and they will be talking about constraint and how human beings collaborate and work together far better when they are in constrained situations. So, for instance, you'll see some discussion about Soweto, where Trevor Noah grew up, and they're discussing how in a poor, impoverished community like this, these citizens are forced and constrained into working, living, and functioning well together, and how they adapt and accommodate to that. And so we will be looking at that in how it relates to online citizen-led democracy. We hope you enjoy the show.
In the cases, there's some sort of hardship. It's like as hardship is relieved, and choice is a relief of hardship, then for some reason, our ability to cooperate and put up with each other seems to go down.
So I will agree with one part of it. I still come back to, I don't even think it's hardship. I think it's just the constraining factor. Here's why I say this. Let's say there is an island of mega rich people and they go hang out together and they're on this mega rich island and they do whatever they want to do, right? It's the mega rich. They're having a great time. If they are confined or constrained in some way, they will find the same thing, and they do find it temporarily. So if you've maybe been to them, I've visited them on occasion, but you get these places where people go to these like golf resorts and it's like, wow, what is this place? And in that place, I have found people have a different level of community, a different level of enjoyment, a different level of, it's like people buzzing around on golf carts and people meeting, and there's only the 4 restaurants, and all you can do is choose from one of the 4. And so you just rotate. Yeah, we'll do the Spanish place on Monday, and then we always love doing the Italian place on Wednesdays, and
I'll have the eggs again. Yeah.
Because all of a sudden you're constrained. So there's this weird thing that happens. I even think about it for my life as I go, the great curse is going to be the choice. The great curse is going to be knowing that you can choose. So how do you create artificial constraint for yourself to help yourself?
So what we see here in this discussion between Simon and Trevor is how can we create these constraints? Perhaps we'll call them artificial constraints, because I guess in reality, any constraint or most constraints are artificial, right? But what we're trying to do is decipher what can bring people together. What kind of a constraint can envelope or bring people together so that they're more likely to collaborate? How can we both construct or manufacture these constraints in a way where the people who are being constrained understand the constraint, endorse the constraint, and collaborate to benefit mutually from that constraint. And at IOD Nations, we contend that that constraint is actually freedom and democracy, right? That it's the unified desire for more freedom and democracy by the world's citizens, whereby uniting online with that constraint actually increases freedom. Let's go to the next portion of their podcast together.
So there's a story about a shoe salesman in Los Angeles in the 1950s. I can't remember his name, but he was a very successful entrepreneur who owned a whole bunch of women's shoe stores.
Yeah.
And a journalist asked him, "What's your secret?" And he said, 2, not 3. And they're like, "What do you mean?" He goes, if a woman comes into my store, I'll bring her a pair of shoes. She'll try them on. And she'll say, "Could I see that pair, please?" And I'll bring her a second pair of shoes. And she said, "Could I also see that pair, please?" And he'll say, "Which one would you like me to take away?"
Oh.
Because what he found
Wow.
is when they had a choice of 3, they bought none. And when they had a choice of 2, they bought 1.
Ah, I love that.
Right? 2, not 3. And too much choice is overwhelming.
Oh
but the
man,
constraint,
I need to apply that to my life. You see, that's brilliant.
So at IOD Nations, International Online Democratic Nations, we actually contend that this constraint in a way is not artificial, right? If you read the Meritocracy Manifesto that I wrote, and you can get it at iodnations.org for free, what is pointed out at the beginning is that there are only 2 forms of human collaboration that exist throughout all of humanity, throughout all of history, okay? Either humans collaborate in a way that is primarily authoritarian, right? So that's most businesses are primarily authoritarian. Even if they have a board of directors, the board of directors meets and makes recommendations or votes, but typically a chairman in many of the situations is the person who makes the final decision. It's more authoritarian than it is democratic, although some boards might be purely democratic. And then that would be a more free and democratic form of human collaboration. But there are no other ways, right? From the day of a tribe, either the chief said, "I am leader, you do what I say," or some group of tribe members collaborated in a way and they voted and they made a choice. And that's the only way that human beings collaborate, right? And where we are is in our online world, in our online environment where we all exist, right? We're all united there. We all use our phone or we use our mouse, and we use that in a way to allow Facebook access to us or to allow TikTok access to us. We don't access them, we grant them access to us. The internet is like an environment, it's like an atmosphere, it's all around us, right? So we're all already there in one form or another. We all are the internet. But the entities that have power and influence there have convinced us that we are accessing the internet. We are accessing them. But the opposite is actually what's happening. We are the internet. Without us, they ain't shit, right? So we choose who accesses us and why. And when we unite online and we collaborate democratically, right, then we can choose to put up filters that limit the other forms of human collaboration to us, right? We can choose to do business with, we can choose to socialize with, we can choose to agree politically and militarily and religiously with groups of human beings, groups of world citizens who choose to collaborate under the constraint of being pro freedom and democracy.
Oh
the
man,
constraint.
I need to apply that to my life. You see, that's brilliant. I love it when people find the nexus of how you're supposed to do it. Because I understood it as a concept, but it's a nice way to think about it for anything really.
Yeah. And so what I've started doing in my life is I've added constraint, right? And I didn't even realize it until we're talking right now, which is like I've got all these options on the table. Pick, I mean, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah,
right?
no, I know what you mean.
And what I'll start doing is I'll start pairing them off. I'll be like, okay, between these two, okay, get rid of that one. Okay, between these two, okay, get rid of that one. Between these two, and the choices become really easy. And then I get to the final two, I'm like, oh, it's obvious, it's that one.
So what we realize is that if we compare this to the analogy of the shoe salesman that Simon uses, we don't even have to make that choice. That binary choice has already been made because there are only two shoes to choose from, right? We haven't yet chosen to really collaborate as individual but united citizens online, right? We're all there, but we haven't picked a location or a methodology or an online democratic environment where we will function. We haven't chosen to do that yet, but those are the only two choices that are there. If we're going to unite online and collaborate, we either do it primarily as authoritarian, which is already happening in a lot of ways, or the only other choice that we have is primarily free and democratic, right? So all of this is insanely easy and elementary, right? The two choices have already been made because there are only two choices. Okay. We know that if we create or operate under this constraint, that human beings are far more likely to work well together in more peaceful and positive ways. And the only choice that we have to make, we're the only generation of human beings who have had the ability to do this at the click of a mouse, right? If 1 million people or 1 billion people clicked their mouse and went to iodnations.org or NATO and said, I request official recognition as a pro-democracy citizen of the online world. It's done. You clicked your mouse, sent an email or a message that said that's what you want to do, and you've already done it. It's already happened. That is the power of international, online, citizen-led democracy, or rather, that's the ease of it. The power is beyond what we can even imagine right now.
You see, that's brilliant.
So thanks for visiting iodnations.org. We are putting together teams for various outreach campaigns to bring world citizens together at IOD Nations and to unite online democratically in much the way that Taiwan has done with vTaiwan.
This is our construct. A planet of continents, of land and borders. At least, that's what previous generations believe. This is our real construct. The trad world is now subservient to our virtual world. Welcome to the real world, Neo. A brave new international online democratic world. Buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy, because Elon is about to go bye-bye.
So, we do not access the internet. We filter their access to us. We are the internet. Holy shit, we can save Zelensky and Ukraine.
When the world's youth and others unite online, Freedom, democracy, and the world's pro-democracy citizens will now rule the world. All that must occur is for people to send an email to NATO. Those emails comprise their online citizenship.
Could they save world democracy?
Once united online, by the millions, we are the cure.
So international online democracy is the new construct.
If they build it, I will come.
So you're here to save the world.
No one has ever done anything like this.
That's why it's going to work.